Edward Snowden has been in the news. A lot of ex-NSA, CIA people have been going over to Russia saying, Snowden, you're awesome, dude. Thank you for basically outing the whole game, the mega game, for which he is now in seclusion. And he made it a point this week to say, if you're spreading lies and telling lies to Congress, as James Clapper just went up there and told like some big old, he said it was the least untruthful thing he could say. Where I come from, and they call those things belly whoppers, right? Because that's like an old fishing tale. Like he told me a belly whopper, man. He told me he caught a whopper that flipped in the air and smacked on its belly. It was about this long. Fishermen always measure their fish by the length they're on. I caught me a big old crappie about that long. He's lying. And so, he's pointed out, something that's been a truism throughout American history, throughout world history, and throughout the history of politics and power. And that is, truth tellers, if you actually tell the truth, whoo, Lord of mercy. If you want to lie, start a PR agency or an ad agency, and they'll give you lots of money to lie. And if you can do it like eloquently with good uses of fonts and colors, you can even make much, much, much more money lying than just PR writers who are good like writers in print, but maybe don't know how to put that whole thing together in a graphically, visually appealing way. That I have managed probably not to do here with this bed sheet and desk that I use as a set. But I digress. Edward Snowden brought up the whole Edward Snowden ordeal really brought something into mind to me when I see the NSA facility photographs that are famous now online, where there's a gazillion cars around this really, really boring looking square, mirror-y kind of looks like it would be filled with cubicles, where basically you went for a job, but that's where to be truthful, that's where your life began its true end. Look at Ed Snowden. And it brought me up to this picture that I saw on Facebook not too long ago. We'll see if we can find it. And that is, there's a picture of a guy amidst like a crowd of Germans who are all Sieg Heil, and goose stepping in that whole that. And he's just like, nah, man, I ain't down with this. I ain't gonna do this. And when I saw that photograph of the Utah data center, I just couldn't help thinking to myself, the real problem in the NSA and in America is not Edward Snowden. It's all those other cars and the people who aren't Edward Snowden that are the problem. Giant bureaucracies can't ensure 24/7 safety and security for everyone. It's impossible, actually. Recently it's come out that New York City cops no longer have to officially protect. But if you've lived in any city for any amount of time, you know that there's nobody protecting anybody. If a cop happens to be somewhere, which usually if it's like at a large social event, they'll have some cops. But if you're just out and about, normal, you're on your own in society. That's not to say that there's off in the distance, there's people sitting in the bushes waiting to pounce on you at any time. No, it's just the way the world is. I walk down the street and I don't feel like I need there was a policeman here to walk me down the street. No, the world is the way the world is. Hell, I could be walking out one day. Someone could have a heart attack and run off the road and run over me and kill me, and I die. And But, I take all those risks. I realize it's impossible for government to create that kind of safety net that is supposedly necessary. But the only thing it's really necessary for, we all know this, is to line the pockets of the computer companies who are making the equipment and doing these gigantic. Ed Snowden, he came out and told the truth, and they're making all this stuff to watch you. To have the ability to have persistent surveillance at any time they might need it. No, you can't watch 300 million people in every single thing they do all the time and monitor unless you have a population of 300 million other people who have the time devoted to watch those other 300 million people. But they want the ability to be able to pull up anything you do at any time, anywhere, any juncture. And I say, if you want to just not be a part of that, you should certainly have the right as an American citizen, seeing that the history of this country is based upon that right for free men who have harmed no one and who live of their own accord to be left alone. And that seemed to be like the basic idea that our founding fathers fought for, even though, yes, they were completely hypocritical and owned people and yada, yada, yada. But we're not talking about that in relation to the NSA. So, Ed Snowden, you are a good goddamn man. I tell you that, brother. I will toast my Billy beer. And all those other people in those cars at the NSA Center who don't say anything, who go along with everything, you're the same people throughout American society who every day at your jobs, you don't say anything. In your communities, you don't say anything because you don't think it's worth the trouble. They'll come after you, blah, 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 blah. Well, you guys are the reason things are the way they are and the reason we can't have nice things.